course, I have with me my cohort in crime, Metal.
Metal, are you his cohort in crime?
I guess. I mean, the crime part does sound fun.
What kind of crimes do you get yourself into?
And tonight, joining us in our endeavors is Timothy Olsen, normally in the chat.
This time, no swearing. I promise.
Okay.
Sounds on it.
And well, and before I forget, I'm going to be sharing this out. Oh, no, don't hit that button. Don't. Whoa. I almost accidentally hit the end stream button on YouTube.
Oh, Rick.
That would not have been good.
You didn't hit the end stream button?
No, I didn't. I moved my mouse before I could.
Now, I heard there was a possibility in the future of a Canadian Shield versus Buckler. Would there be?
I believe in John's Buckler book he's going to be having that. I've told him he could, but I'm not sure whether he is doing it 100%. It seems a little bit up in the air.
I think if he does do it, he shouldn't do it in the issue that he's making, or the graphic novel. He should build it up more. Because it's kind of like...
I'm saying, if they had two different versions.
You're talking about me, right, Metal?
Yeah, because your Buckler is not Dillard's character. It's the dude from the future who was supposed to get the Shield outfit in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between John's Buckler and your Buckler? What's the difference?
A lot, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Kind of figured, but I like to hear.
Completely two different characters that just happen to share the same name.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to know what Rick's Buckler is like. I already know how John's Buckler is.
Well, I haven't done a lot of stuff on mine. I've created basically the origins of him, he was the guy, as you know, hello Marshall, how are you? But yeah, the Buckler in my universe was the guy in the future that was supposed to get the Canadian Shield suit. And he ends up finding out that the Shield suit got transported back to time that he was supposed to get, and he then finds a way to travel through time back to, get the thing off of Man Like Cougar, the Shield outfit, and then he travels back to his time, where the suit's from, if you will, and puts it on and starts to try to be the Shield then, but Manly Cougar is able to get technology to travel to the future. He comes and gets his suit back, and the guy that got it somehow acquires another suit that gives him powers, and he travels back and becomes a rival to the Shield, trying to one-up him, almost a Booster Gold like, if you will.
Oh, I guess I'm a little confused on how the events go.
So he hasn't developed this fully yet. This is why I was trying to deflect from the question.
I didn't get the social cue from you. I'm sorry.
Never mind. Well, okay. Here, maybe it's easier if I do some sort of.
Maybe kind of simplify the story.
Okay.
Maybe he goes to where the Canadian Shield is in time and tries to take the suit from him.
That's what I said. Okay.
You threw in a bunch of other.
Okay. Here's our present, right? The present, right? as we know,
Okay.
the suit is from the future, so we'll use F, right? And that's where the guy,
Okay.
we'll say the buckler is, Pierre, we'll call the buckler, or who's going to become the buckler.
The buckler is from the future. I got that.
Yeah. He was supposed to get the suit before God put the suit in the past, in our present.
Okay.
So he finds the buckler, finds out that the suit is in our present, or his past. So he travels back there. He grabs it off the Canadian Shield, or Man Like Cougar. Then he travels back to the future. And then the Canadian Shield, or Man Like Cougar, no longer has it, so he travels to the future and gets the suit back off the buckler and travels back to the past. And then at this time, the buckler finds another suit and travels back to the past again, just to be a rival of the Canadian Shield. Did that help? Did that help?
There's a lot of going to the future than going back to the past in there.
Yeah. It's like Back to the Future, you know, all the time travel, you know.
I see.
But this whole storyline is going to take place over like a year. So it's going to take place over like 12 comics. You know, so I'm explaining something that's gonna happen in 12 issues worth of comics in like 2 minutes or 5 minutes.
So it's going to be a 12-issue story arc? That's a pretty big story arc.
Yeah. It's what I call my year of hell. All my issues are gonna have a major 12 story issue arc. There'll probably be other stuff involved in other minor arcs involved in that year worth of stuff.
See, that doesn't seem too big to me because I write all my stories in 12-issue arcs.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I'm thinking of it like a season of a TV show. So you either have like the 12 or 24 episode seasons, and 24 seems like a pretty big arc for a comic. So I just kind of keep it down to 12.
Or else it's going to keep on going, right?
Yeah. Well, the webcomic is a 64 chapter story. But yeah, everything else is like 12.
Yeah. And as ongoing issues, yeah, I guess it's sort of long, but you know.
Wouldn't it be funny if they keep when the Buckler and the Canadian Shield keep appearing in the past? It's always in front of the same homeless guy who just has a weird story of these two guys just keep coming back.
No.
I think about it. He's got a weird story like they just keep showing up. These same two guys. No? All right.
Yeah, maybe. Be a nice little short thing.
Would it be like Kevin from The Tick?
Probably. Well, that's probably where I got it. I haven't seen The Tick in such a long time, but the Buckler kind of reminds me of like a reverse Tick anyway, where he's kind of a dummy, but he's not trying to be a hero. He's trying to be a bad guy. And his backstory is a little more tragic. If that makes any sense.
Maybe a little. So how are things coming along for...
The Melvin comic?
Yeah.
We're getting pretty close to being done art-wise. We had to add 2 more pages, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
then I'll have to finish up the script, and then I have at least 2 people lined up to proofread it.
Oh, that's good.
Because I don't want to look like a jackass. I caught myself. I don't want to look like
an idiot.
I caught myself right. Yes, an idiot. We'll go with that one. I don't look like an idiot.
You use Rick's favorite word. You don't want to look like a moron.
Well, that works too.
My mom's saying hi to everyone.
So who's going to be drawing the, what's her name again?
Snowdrift.
Snowdrift. I got to remember that. Snowdrift.
I'm hoping I have the money to get the guy that's doing the Canadian Shield to do it afterwards.
Otherwise, right now, it's Rick.
Yeah, and although I'm not doing much on it. Right now, I gotta come up with the money to pay the guy for the whole Canadian Shield. And as long as it's the same deal, the 2 books together, actually, it's not gonna too bad of a cost overall when you really think about it. It's just like $1,200 US for like 40 some odd pages, close to 50, 45 plus pages. And I've only got about 150. I've only got about a tenth, just over a tenth of that saved up.
I kind of think it'd be a good idea for me to just 3 months between projects. That way,
Yeah.
There's time to kind of come up with enough material to make the new project.
Yeah, well, I should have been started this guy a while ago and started paying him a while ago. But the great thing is I don't have to pay him till all the pages are in, so. And.
So Meadow, okay.
And I might.
So Meadow, you just do. Sorry.
No.
It's like that being at a four-way intersection. Nobody knows when to go. I was gonna ask Metal. You do just web comics?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Like I'll do shorts and other things, or I actually also write literature, but from the comic side, yeah, everything's web. There are print versions if people want to have physical copies of the chapters after they're done, but web first, yeah.
So no crowdfunding for you then.
I mean, maybe. If I were to do that, though, it would be like a story where I hook up with an artist to do it. You know, if I'm just doing it myself, especially because I don't do the highest quality of art.
Yeah.
I just do it to people who like it can tip, which some people have. But if I was going to do a campaign or something like that, I would just hook up with another artist and maybe do a revenue split or something like that.
I see.
Because unknown to most people, I am primarily a writer. I just happen to do art.
Yeah, I kind of had to switch over to doing storyboards and just writing myself because my art is not as good as I thought it was. But I might do a cover here and there, but I'd like to get a new laptop and a sketch and a digital tablet first before I delve back into that.
Yeah. Hello, Fire, or Finir. Fire, how are you?
Finir Fire, what?
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
So is Evan still crying about his wrench?
No. Oh, and
No,
now everybody
he
needs
gave up
it.
on it?
Well, I don't know. If he comes in, he might actually get it back tonight. Because as of earlier today, My mom got more power on my channel.
Uh-oh.
She's now a manager. She can make mods, take them away. She can do editing and stuff behind the scenes, but she probably won't be doing that.
I see. Well, I better behave myself then. I don't want to get kicked out.
Well, she can't do anything to you with you on the panel, but it's just you typing in the chat. If you're typing in the chat from now on.
So watch out, everybody in the chat.
I don't think I have anything to worry about. I think in the brief time, her and I have developed a slightly good rapport.
Oh, that's good. You can use that as leverage, like, I thought we were friends.
Mostly just in the after-stream chats when she comes in and starts talking with Rick and I.
Fenrir says he's almost totally wasted.
A little too much party hardy.
Yeah, Fenrir, the great wolf of the north.
The great wolf of the north?
Yeah, he ate Tyr's hand off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Norse mythology, yeah.
Oh, right.
It's one of Loki's kids.
We're familiar with Norse mythology. Not totally.
But can he Loki his kids? Loki his kids.
Loki is kids.
Yeah, he means locate, but he's trying to use Loki as a pun.
Boo, Rick.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, he knows all of his kids are.
Boo hiss.
One of Loki's kids is also a giant serpent.
Figure that one out.
Loki likes to shapeshift. He also has a kid that is an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir.
Sleipnir.
Which is the one.
That's what you said?
Yeah, Sleipnir. Which is the one that Odin rides, is one of Loki's kids.
Odin
rides. And he's got another one.
That doesn't suck!
And he's got a kid that is a pretty hot chick for the most part, but she's like literally dead from the waist down. Like below her belly button, it's all just skeleton. And you know her as Hel or Hela.
Oh, wow.
Who gates to Helheim.
My ancestors were weird. They believed in weird things.
Well, that certainly doesn't sound like her anytime I've seen her in Marvel Comics.
Well,
to be
fair, they changed
stuff nothing like Norse mythology.
They changed a lot of the stuff to be more comic booky.
I mean, for one, if Loki was anybody's brother, he would actually be Odin's, not Thor's.
Oh.
And there's actually some scholarly belief that it was known that he was Odin's brother, and a lot of the language was like very poetic and metaphor. They were a poetic people. Everything was always done in poems. Half the poem.
What'd you think of the Beowulf story? I always liked that one.
Beowulf is cool.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely more an English story, but it comes out of the Germanic culture so strongly that it's hard to tell the difference between the two.
I just thought it was like, people complain about violence and video games and stuff now. I mean, crying out loud, Beowulf ripped Grendel's arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the weirder things about these old stories, too, is that there are so many variants to them because they were told from tribe to tribe. So we kind of go with like what they call the Edda is the amalgam version, like the written down version that everybody's choosing is basically the canon of it. But there are so many variants of even Edda passages. Like my favorite one is when basically Mjolnir gets kidnapped and held for ransom, right? And by a giant, and the giant in trade, it's hand in marriage. But they're like, yo, we're not going to trade Freya for a hammer. So instead, to get it back, they dress Thor up as a bride because this
I heard about this one, and then
bad eyesight. And like Loki and the warrior hides the Warriors 3 under his gown.
the Warriors 3 were a real thing.
Yes, but they don't look the same.
Right.
Yeah, they're a real thing. There's a lot of like touches of actual Norse mythology in Marvel, but then they like completely ruin it.
Yeah,
The idea is that they're actually an alien race, and the Norse people just assumed that they were gods.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then it also gets weirder than that too. The more you go into Marvel's version of it, like there's
Yeah.
past lives. Ragnarok is a never-ending cycle. At one point, Thor even remembers it. There was a version of Thor with red hair. It gets really confusing.
Yeah, that's because they keep, doing stupid stuff.
You
Stop, I
can,
said stuff.
you,
I said
can,
stuff. Let me know, I said stuff.
you can say shit.
Well,
Lord knows
if
I
you,
do.
re- if you recall my first time on here,
If he doesn't try to control himself, he might say worse things.
if you give me an inch, I might take a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about trying to catch the enemies at the gate before they come in.
Exactly.
So the point I was getting at, that's one version of the story that a lot of people, that like the agreed upon, but there are others, and one of them is actually even more popular back then, but it wasn't the one that made it into what we call the Edda now. And one of the variants, probably why it was thrown out, Loki used his magic to literally turn Thor into a woman for the disguise, and even disguised himself as like the maid of honor and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the other Asgardians, and it was more than just warriors, like many of them, were still like shrunk down and hiding underneath the dress.
Well, I guess that goes with Marvel changing, Thor into a woman, although technically not,
Yeah.
Thor.
Well, I was just thinking the other day, I can kind of see how Christianity kind of took hold in Scandinavian culture, because in order to get into Valhalla, you had to die in battle.
Yes, the warrior.
That's the only way you could get in, and in the Christian heaven, all you had to do is believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer if you think about it.
Yeah, especially for all the ones that didn't want to fight and die in battle.
Well, so the thing is, Valhalla was obviously the best reward, but they didn't quite see it the same way that, let's say, like the Judeo-Christian tradition sees the kingdom of God, as you'd call it, because the belief in heaven is a much newer thing that even comes with like the belief in Christ and stuff.
Right.
Heaven was more of like a celestial plane, the heavens, and only deities like God and angels and stuff live up there. And that God was, even Jesus early on, the way he spoke was reminiscent. The kingdom of God was coming to earth.
Right.
So the way we believe in heaven now, what you could extrapolate it from the old things, is still more of a modern belief, and it's not even like, it's actually probably closer to the way the belief in...
I think it came from like Dante, right? Dante's Inferno and the way he viewed heaven and hell and whatnot.
It was definitely the Greek influence that brought a lot of this understanding of what heaven is into it.
Yeah, because like in the Bible, it never says that angels had wings, but in Western culture, they have wings.
Well, actually, you could date the design of how Westerners see angels back to Egypt, because there were angel-like creatures in the Egyptian mythology that had wings, and there's a lot of share. So there'd be artifacts amongst the Hebrew people that were from Egypt.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the word angel just more means messenger, so that's what angel.
It's more of like a job.
Yeah.
There was an interesting documentary about a civilization that predates the Egyptians is that kind of shows where all their gods kind of came from.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Or were they believed?
Did you see that? Yes.
Or were they believed
Did
they
you see
came
that
from? I think
Where
it's
the baby
talking
came?
to you, Metal.
Oh. Oh, you haven't seen it. Okay. Well, I mean, if you can't, if you didn't see it, then
Yeah, I'll probably check it out sometime.
it's pretty interesting.
But I'm probably already aware of a lot of the information that's in it because I do a lot of reading.
Okay.
Honestly, I usually prefer reading up on the stuff than documentaries because as fun as documentaries can be, especially if they're shot well, I can read things a lot faster than watching a documentary.
Yeah.
Well, it's just on YouTube, then I can play it like 2 times the speed.
I bring it up, and then I kind of forgot what I saw, and I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've seen it. I want to see it again. I'll have to watch it again.
I actually watch a lot of things at like 1.5 and 2 times the speed because I've got a lot of things to watch through, and I just don't have the patience to watch through it at like normal speed.
Yeah, but how do you listen to it then?
Oh, I catch it very well. But I mean, if you haven't noticed, we're also a talk faster in most regards.
And you also do a lot of stuff on your website.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But like, if you get used to listening to it fast, which is why you slowly ramp up the speed and go like 1.5, 2.5, and then 1.5 and so on, you kind of get adjusted to picking up the things that are being said.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because it's like metal, like heavy metal music. People who listen to it a lot can make out what's being said, but most people are like, okay, I can't make that out.
It just sounds like growling and stuff. Yeah. But I listen to a lot of different types of metal, so I usually don't have problems picking out what people are like singing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but the original reason we went on to that weird tangent is Valhalla was not the end all be all, right? Because
Alright.
to even want to get to Valhalla, you kind of had to be a warrior in the first place because the reward was shift between an endless feast and also going off away from the table to just engage in like sparring with other warriors.
Yeah, if you go out, fight, you die, you end up back at the table.
Yeah. And it wasn't the only one because at one point with the tribes, the mythology kind of split into 2 different groups. Which is why you have like this difference between the Aesir and the Vanir. And so you have like Odin or Othin and Frigr in the Aesir side, and then you have Ulthar and Freya in the Vanir side, which is weird because they kind of flip it. Freya is the one that's like the superintendent of that one over Ulthar, while it's Odin on the other side. Together, the Vanir moved into Asgard with the Aesir, and they kind of had to split. So then it became that warriors, kind of chosen at random, would go to Valhalla, while the other half would go to the fields of Volksvangar that Freya looked over. And it was a very similar ending for both of them, too.
Like the Greeks, Elysian Fields, I think it is.
Yeah, the Elysian Fields.
Yeah.
But most people in general would go down to Helheim. And Helheim was mostly a peaceful place. It's cold, it's frozen, life can't live there. Like, if a living person goes, they would freeze over. Even some of the gods are afraid to go down to Helheimer. And it's fine. Like, you're a shade, similar to, like, how the Greeks believed that people, like, in the underworld were shades. But it was a peaceful relaxing death, except for things that refused to accept the embrace of death, and then they would be called Draugr, and Draugr can live down there as undead soldiers. Some of them don't even go down there. Some of them stay up here. They're kind of like a mix between a zombie and a poltergeist.
Strange.
Yeah, they have a physical form. They don't really necessarily have their senses. Some of them might, but most of them are just kind of like senseless, almost like a berserker. And even though they have a physical form, the laws of reality aren't constraining to them. So like a Draugr could walk straight through a stone wall, like a ghost could. And Draugr are intimidating for humans, or most humans in general, and then but they're like nothing for, say, one of the Aesir.
Hello, John. John is in the chat. Not much. We are talking about Norse mythology.
Care to join us? Nah, it sounds boring.
Oh, he has to hear enough of this stuff whenever we hop in a hangout anyway. I'll get onto a tangent and then I won't stop talking about it until somebody changes the subject.
I don't know, it's interesting anyway.
Yeah, it's fun. I used to be like really obsessive with mythology in general when I was a little kid. Like, I probably read through the entire shelf in our public library on mythology by the time I left elementary school.
Yeah, I should really get back to reading Dante's Inferno. I started reading that, and I had been too busy to get back to it.
Yeah, the Divine Comedy is pretty funny.
Said he heard there was a party here. Yeah, I guess. Sorry to say, there's like 5 of us. Dylan says, I have a hard time talking about Norse mythology. Most people don't know what they're talking about, especially now.
Oh man, he's talking some smack now. We're gonna do it. We're gonna put up with that.
I feel like he's projecting when he says most of my facts come from Lego Thor.
I think Dylan does a lot of projecting.
Metal doesn't get too Thor over what Dillard says.
Boo. Boo, Rick. Boo.
I actually had an idea for a cool story that would kind of like parallel or retell the Norse mythology, but in a modern setting. And I wanted, because if you really look at it, it's almost like a mob family moving into town. Is like the whole Norse mythology. You have Odin.
I can see that.
Coming in and basically just setting up roots and like just, you know.
Would you have Odin talk like Marlon Brando?
Kind of, except maybe not. I'm thinking more of like, say, a Nordic family coming in and make like a new crime family. So having everybody else be like the old crime families that were there. But the idea would be like they just moved into the neighborhood, and the main adventures is following Thor and his drunk uncle Loki, because that's kind of like a lot of these adventures do. Loki kind of sets up a problem, and then Thor has to go and clean it up. And you would see like all the other people involved in this small little community and stuff like that, like a mob family. And
that'd be really funny though.
Something stupid like Thor's Company.
Thor's Company. They're all like Norse gods, but they all have Italian accents.
Dylan says, who's online with the awful audio? That's probably Timothy.
Diller thinks that Nordic Family should be played exclusively by people of color. Well, if it got picked up by a network, I think that would have to be the case these days.
So they'd be Norse gods with Italian accents, but they're all black.
Yep, that sounds like an HBO hit.
I think it hit something. I just don't know what.
We'll just give Diller credit for this monstrosity. He wrote it.
Yeah, watch. Some Hollywood producer's gonna hear this, go and listen to the show and then do that, and we're like, what the?
Oh yeah, he's gonna totally just steal the idea. I can see it. Is my audio really that bad?
Doesn't sound that bad to me, but
Sounds like you're talking through a tin can.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm setting up a character sheet for an NPC that is going to guide the team at some point.
And that's for Saturday, right?
Well, this Saturday, for the people coming on, hopping on and call with me, is just going to be setting up character sheets.
Yeah.
Right. It's the week. It's the weekend after this weekend, right?
Yeah. Because Marsupial won't be available. He's moving this Saturday.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, technically, since Timothy's on right now, if you guys want it, you can use this time to set up Timothy's character.
Yeah, as long as we're also talking about other things, because that would be pretty boring.
Yeah, because I was
Character sheet.
Because I figured Saturday I'd have perfect time to do that.
We're probably not going to finish because we're going to keep getting onto tangents and stuff.
Right. Give Dillard back.
Well,
Right, but
somebody's going to make the show interesting.
or something like that. Is it remove
Right?
and stuff like that.
No, okay. Okay,
yeah.
Apparently my mom, I don't know why she can't give people rent. She's a manager on my channel. She should be able to.
I just got a wrench. That's it.
Yeah, well, you would in the chat. I'm not sure how that works.
Thought I come and tell you.
No.
Rick, this is why you should make me a manager on your channel, because you know I'm never going to abuse it.
He says as he snickers.
Hey, I'm actually a manager on like 4 different people's channels, and I've never screwed them over yet, so...
Okay, so you have a track record of not screwing people over. Just don't give Dillard back his wrench. He doesn't deserve it.
Well, I think he wants Dillard to get his wrench back. See, he doesn't know what's more unbelievable. Timothy thinking we can understand him, or Rick thinking a television producer wouldn't immediately click off this stream.
Well, there's that.
Wait, you don't understand? What?
Let's see.
Okay, so my audio is definitely that bad then.
As I said, it's pretty tin canny.
Dylan says, what would he do with a wrench?
What it sounds more like is you ever walk under a bridge, like a long one, and you're like in a concrete tunnel and you scream and it just sounds like really dense and echoey.
Huh. Let me
Okay, so John's got his wrench back.
Oh dear God. We're all doomed now.
I just know you can do. Other people, if you give them some sort of permission, can uh, take the wrenches and give them. I think, or can they just
Yeah.
take them?
No, I think you can do both. You have to just go in and to set everything up. Right, so what would I do with a wrench other than promote and share links to my new crowdfunding campaign with the Wheelers? Well, now Timothy's in the chat instead of the call.
Well, he left. Didn't have to leave.
Yeah, he decided to. It's a free country, Rick.
Yeah, free country. I'm just telling him he didn't have to.
It's probably, I would assume the gain on his microphone was too high, and that's why it sounded very distorted.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so we're going to be doing that through Discord, right? I should set up
I think we are, because
because
then that lets you do audio control easier.
yeah, and everybody can share
Not.
their video screen
This is, yeah.
for you, at least for you to see the roll.
That's only if they're going to be rolling in person. If they don't have like dice on them, they can
Yeah.
just use the digital dice inside the system.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They can share their screen to do that.
Yeah. Or if they don't want to share their screen, they can still just because I'll see the digital rolls. We'll all see them on the system.
Well,
We don't have to share their screen for that. It's in Roll 20.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But if they want to do it the other way,
The only way they
because the only
Yeah, if they wanna
screen
roll-
I'll be showing during that
people-
time, the only screen I'll be sharing during that time is the Roll 21. You know, I don't need to show anything else. You know, we can all talk and everybody will be able to hear.
Yeah, I will say though, you need to go into Roll 20 when you go into the game and go to the settings and turn off the in-game microphone or the sound chat because we're going to be using out of the game chat.
Okay.
And otherwise you'll just get an echo if you don't go and turn it off.
And he's saying, nah, this thing is awful. So,
Timothy, Dillard only speaks in one case. Usually it's all caps, but YouTube doesn't like that and might boot him. So it's all lowercase instead. It's honestly kind of weird when I see Dillard type and it's not just immediately in all caps. Though I think as a mod, he can go back to typing in all caps, right? YouTube doesn't boot mods when they do that.
I don't know.
Okay, well, at least we can still do this on Saturday. But I forgot to copy him a character sheet before. I've got one set up now. Pretty easy, though. I have a default template. I just have to copy and change the name of it.
Yeah.
I actually need to change one thing to my default template that I did on yours. And that was create a secondary page at the very end for player notes, so players can feel free to take their own notes. I'll be able to see them. So if you want to make notes of things you don't want me as the game master to see, don't put it there. But otherwise, you will have a handy space to keep track of everything.
Yeah. Hey, Eagle. Timothy says, now I'm confused. I thought Timothy was a goober, but now I see he has the decency to leave and not ruin the show with his audio.
Oh, now Eagle's asking if Dillard got a writer for his radio show. It'd be the new normal for a while. Oh, Evan wants his wrench. He's in chat.
I thought he got it this morning. I thought I gave it to him.
Apparently not. Unless he has multiple channels that are Evan Hotep and he's trying to get you to wrench more than one.
Well, I guess that means I should be giving Eagle back his too. Excuse me.
I think not.
So everybody's now got. I think everybody's now got their wrenches back.
And Bullet.
No, Bullet doesn't have a wrench. He didn't have one beforehand.
That's just what Bullet said.
Oh. Oh, Bullet.
But who are you going to believe? Him?
Or myself. He would probably say to believe him.
Timothy was like, can I have a wrench? And then immediately Timothy was timed out by Eagle for 300 seconds. You're probably just about to take Eagle's wrench away. Mistake to give it back. Eagle's like, I gave him a wrench. I don't think you meant it that way, Eagle.
Eagle just lost his wrench again for a couple of days.
You know what? I think it was worth it. That was genuinely funny.
In fact, for that,
Mallet says, wait!
for the next few days, Timothy has his wrench.
Oh. Well, I guess he did just give Timothy a wrench in that case.
Yes, Mallet. And yes, Bullet, since you said wait as well.
Oh, he said I never had a chance to love you.
So I wonder whether Timothy is still listening and knows that he now has a wrench for a couple days. But then again, he can lose that wrench if he comes in and does the exact same thing he did to him.
They'll just be passing the wrench back and forth.
Oh no, Eagle wouldn't get it back for that.
It says no wrench for me. This is my last time here. Is it his last time here because he's going to rebrand again? He says, I just couldn't leave without saying goodbye. No, Mallet, don't go.
Wrench Apocalypse 2.0 says Evan. Jamaican. Classic Linda.
In the middle of all this tension, she's like, subscribe.
Melvin's are you? Hey, Elric.
No, so it's like it's in the middle of watching your favorite drama, and just like a commercial pops up right in the most tense moment.
Rick's show is 40% less interesting without Mallet. Says Dillard.
Eagle is timed out by Evan Hotep for saying that mummies are inferior to dwarves.
I guess somebody wanted to lose his rank again, so it's where's Evan?
I don't like how timing somebody out just like retroactively hides all of their previous messages.
Yeah.
That should be like a separate option you have to click on.
Yeah. I agree. Eagle got nuked, it says. Yeah, Timothy says, I have the power for 2 days. I have the power of a god for 2 days. I wouldn't say I'm a god, but I say to thee, Mallet, do not leave this show. Who will make this show interesting? So says I. Timothy.
Oh, definitely not me. I'll tell you that. All I'm going to do is ramble on about Norse mythology for the next, like, I don't know, hour and a half, whatever time we got left.
Hour, actually. Or hour and 3 minutes.
Evan's going to bounce too. He's got books to make and a cartoon to produce. That sounds fun.
So it says, Rick, talking about races being superior is clearly within the rules of timing someone out without permission.
This is true.
Rules that you've
that you yourself established. It was a racist comment, technically. I mean, I guess technically mummy's not a race. Dwarf could be, depending on the context. I don't know. Was Evan born a mummy? Is that his race?
No, you can't be born a mummy. You die in our
no, that might be a racist statement for all we know.
Now, technically, you can be born a dwarf, but is a dwarf a race?
Depending on the context, yes.
Yeah, in like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, it is. But in our
Or if you're from Svardalfheim.
What?
If you're from Svardalfheim, you're a dwarf.
Okay.
Born again mummies. And what about like in the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, when Erwin's mom was a mummy, which makes him part mummy? Because that's how it worked in that show.
I don't know. How about we say in reality for races that my stuff applies to reality, not fiction?
Come on, have you not seen? It's 2020. It's current year. Reality has nothing to say about what somebody identifies as. I mean, Dillard here asked, "What if he identifies as a dwarf attack helicopter?"
Sounds like a personal problem. Your phone says, I don't know his truth.
Evan, we're gonna play a game some weekend.
So
Yeah, I'd be down to play a game. What game do you want to play, Evan? As long as it's not Grand Theft Auto, because I'm not paying for that. Even though I would enjoy to play that game. It's just not in the budget right now. How many people can Evan time out before Rick stops him? Well, you already lost your wrench, so I think that's going to be like 0. Or 1 if you count the original that you timed out that caused you to lose the wrench. Oh. You did give it back to his other account. He tricked you. Because Evan just timed out a bunch of people. I told you earlier this was a possibility, Rick.
Okay, which one is he doing it? Oh, I should have known.
Because of the picture?
Yeah.
But how could you know that he didn't just like change his picture all of a sudden, right?
No, I have it. I have all I have to do. I've got it open on thing.
Well, technically, there's nothing Elric could do anyway because Evan's still a mod until you take it away.
Oh, I've
And
taken
mods
it.
can do stuff to other mods.
Although I've taken it away now.
He said, "Sorry, Rick, I had to." If you say so, Evan.
But sometimes, yeah, there's the thing. Evan changes his picture a lot, so that's probably what got me. I wasn't sure
Well,
which
see,
picture he was using it. Not,
the thing is, he hasn't changed the picture on that account in a long time.
yeah. I probably just remembered the other one, so it's like, okay. I'm like, okay, here, have your wrench back. And he probably changed the name, too, to Evan Hotep, because it was probably one that wasn't just Evan Hotep.
Or change that picture. Yeah, okay. I've seen that one for a long time. He probably didn't change it though. I think didn't he already have two that were Evan Hotep?
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe he has, and I just was thinking it was the same one.
He could have way more than two for all we know too. Since you can name a channel whatever you want to name it.
Yeah. And technically, you're not naming a channel at first, it's just your thing, but
Evan
then,
Von Scriber.
but
I
then,
remember Evan Von Scriber.
and then they make, unfortunately, they make you make it a channel one if you want to talk in the chat or whatever, which is like stupid. Yeah, so I want to talk in the chat and interact with the person who has a channel. So, like, I need to make my name a channel.
It's like, Rick, no, I've had two Evan Hoteps for a year.
Uh,
It's like, I do have a third. That's probably directly at me when I said he could have another one for all I know.
or fourth, or fifth, or seventh, or a billionth. Who knows what's happening?
I don't think you get wrenches on Twitch, right? They give you a sword. Which is like a lot cooler.
Which maybe you're stupid, Rick. How about that? Yeah, I can be stupid at times.
Rick, you should erase all those lines on the neck. You see, that's like pretty much what I tell him anytime he draws a line on a neck.
Oh, Dillet's saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of lines on that neck are just completely unnecessary.
Although that's looking too fat, her neck.
What you should have done is you should have just drawn the hair in more so that it implied the width of the neck.
No, I can. I lost why.
Yeah, he's in all the lines. Yeah, because I know what you're trying to do with those middle ones. You're trying to get the two big veins in the neck, but they're just not in the right place, so they don't look right. Probably just be better off without them. Okay, Evan, see ya. If you actually do leave, remember to get in contact with me for what time you want to set up that character sheet on. I'm assuming we're still doing that on Saturday too. Yeah, due to the angle of the drawing, all those lines should be gone. I agree. Because, like, where the veins would be at this angle would be mostly behind the chin. You wouldn't be able to see them.
Ah, crap. Why is it not erasing? Or undoing? Uh,
Like, oh, no, 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 no. Rick, stop.
what?
Diller just says, Rick, stop. Yeah, you really don't have to change the hair. You could just get rid of the lines. Like, I know it looks fat, but I don't think you're looking at it from the angle that it actually is in your head.
Well, something's off with the hair then, no matter which.
Yeah, Dillard, you're probably going to have to come in. Like, you don't really need any of the lines on that neck.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the hair at the moment. I got rid of...
Yeah. Especially that, whatever that is, next to the hair.
Where?
That little jumble of lines.
Yeah, I was probably trying to shade or something, you know. Do something
Yeah,
on
you
the
just
side of the
scrap
neck. No, I can get rid of it in a bit.
that. I'm trying to think of the timeline. You drew this
2 weeks
before
ago.
before you started practicing on the faces, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You also don't need those hanging lines for the neck that's coming down below the hair. The hair should just curve straight up to the head, because the neck doesn't come down right there, right? Because you're looking at the top of the shoulders.
You mean that right there?
Yeah, like both of those little like hanging lines that come down underneath the hair. You should just sweep the hair straight up, like in a curve, the way it was going. Because at this angle,
you mean
the
that?
neck is underneath. Yeah, like that little tiny line coming off into the skin. You don't need that. As we're saying, like the neck in this angle is directly underneath the head.
Hey, John.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
So what's going on?
Oh, not much.
Just trying to explain to Rick that in the image, the neck would be below the head to the point that you pretty much wouldn't see it.
Yeah. I'm not quite so sure that's the case, though. Rick, can you zoom out a little bit
of it
on the drawing?
See, like, we're not dead on top, but you are seeing, like, the top of the shoulders. So you wouldn't really get, like, these lines coming down towards the collarbone like that.
Right. All right, let me share my screen. Present entire screen. Okay, there we go. All right, so open a new page here. So what's happening, if you're to just bear with me for a second, what's happening is that you've established your shoulders are here and here, which means that her back curves up and around like this, because you're also showing a great deal of the top of her head. Like if you're looking at her hair, you see almost the entire top of her head in the picture. All this hairline here, that part that she has coming
which
down.
means the eye should be forward, the nose should look a bit more down. You'd see very little of the mouth, but you'd still see it.
Right. So he's taking a little bit of liberties here, showing her face from front on, even though it should be not from front on. He has it turned a little bit.
Of course, this was drawn before the session where he was practicing heads at different angles, so that is a little understandable there.
Right. So let's say we have that, but what that means now is that position of that head has to be right on the shoulders. It can't be where it's at, because from wherever he has it right now, it's slid really far forward.
Yeah.
On the upper part of the shoulders here, because normally if you were just drawing your let's say your torso, the shoulders actually come in. They bow out in the middle and they come into a real narrow point on both sides.
Yeah.
Right. So right here you have this basket which has the collarbone, which connects to the back of the scapular. I mean what are these bones called back here?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think that is scapulars. But this little cradle here is where her neck would be, meaning that right smack dab in the center, that's where the neck would be. And because the head is right above that, you would not see that entire part of her neck at all. So all that area, this open area you have here, wouldn't have any lines except for maybe the clavicle line right here.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of that.
Show the collar and maybe that. So
all this area in here, although it seems right now that it's awkward shouldn't have any defining lines on it. Now, if you wanted to get a little bit technical, which I know you guys love to do over here on Cross Comics, what you could do is you could kind of, let's go in a little deeper, because right in this area, you could kind of put some hatching right around here and right around here. But that's about it. There might be a hint. Like if you were to get like an airbrush, there might be a hint of some shadow coming from right here. But that's it.
Yeah, but isn't that one that you just did sort of straight down
Nope.
on her?
No.
Because it
No,
looks...
just looking at the shoulders.
yeah, but that
This
looks...
is just the shoulders.
Yeah, but that
Well,
looks
if
straight
you would
down.
allow me to finish it real quick, no, like because what happens is if you're, this is what's happening here. This is the angle. See what I mean? This is just viewed from the top because this picture you're drawing is viewed from the top, or else you would never see the top part of her shoulders. It has to be viewed from the top.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bird's eye view.
Yeah. And then you can have the arms coming down out like that, or however. I can't really tell on the drawing that you have because I'm looking at a still image on YouTube. But
Yeah, I like to call this a second story view. Like you're not up directly above them, but like looking down from a balcony.
mhm. Because unfortunately, what's happening in this picture, if you want to put all that definition on her neck, now this is going to look a little silly, but this is going to illustrate my point exactly. What's happening, say this is your drawing here. See, this is her shoulders, her breasts, and all that. What's happening is, instead of where it should be, you're essentially putting her neck coming out like this from the front part of this upper torso here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you do that. Like she's a turtle.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it looks awkward.
It doesn't look like the back of the neck is connected to the spine, running through the shoulder blades.
Yeah.
Which again, just by erasing those lines, there's a minimal change to make it look more appropriate to the pose that you did. It's not like you have to necessarily redraw everything.
Yeah, you just erase those lines in the neck. It's all good. Now, the problem you're going to have, which I believe you could solve, because right now, what's happening, if you erase those lines, the size of her head is making her look very fat and bulky. Now, in order to make her look more skinny and dainty, you're going to have to make her head larger.
Which it should anyway, because it's closer to the camera than the torso is.
Or the body smaller, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Either way, you're going to have to use that lasso tool and divide that hairline up and move it a little bit. It would probably be easier, maybe, to make the body smaller. Though I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely the lines under the neck got to go.
Yeah, but we're also pulled back a bit out from her too. Wouldn't that allow for some things? The angle.
What do you mean?
Well, if you look at the angle, yeah, I'm not like straight on, but you can see the top of the shoulders, but you can also see her front fairly good too. So, with the angle that I've got, you just can't see the one side completely well.
All right,
Yeah, but you're
give me
looking
1 second here. Let me go over to where you're at and let me grab a screenshot real quick.
Yeah. So I'm saying, Rick, you're also looking at a woman.
Yeah.
So imagine her breasts aren't there and just follow the curve of the chest down to the torso, and you see it's at a receding angle.
Yeah, well, even if
See
I
the
follow,
shoulders on the top.
if I here, let me put a line thing above here. That way, I don't. If you said it
Did
was
you say baby? Do?
no,
Oh,
if it was a guy, and this is just quick what I'm doing here, it would just be like that. If you can even see that wet line. Wait, get a different color. Uh, gosh, she looks kind of big. Yeah, and
All right, here we go. All right, I have Snowdrift, the general shape here, and the angle on my screen. Let me make that a little. There we go. All right, so what you got here? I'm gonna do this in pencil. I'm gonna do the base in pencil. So what we have here is we have shoulder basket area is what I call it. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I call it. Because what's happening here is you have almost a front view, but again, she's being viewed from the top because she's leaning forward like a surfing stance.
yeah.
So let's say we use the ball joints, lines. All right. Now, if we follow this, we're going to bring her like that.
It's also
Now,
why it's
her
important
back-
to do skeletons.
Yeah. Let's bring this out. Because we can extend this stuff, but we can only extend it so far before it starts to not make sense. Okay. And then her head will be here. And then we'll bring the hip down here and then straight down. This leg is going forward. And we'll bring it back. Okay. So if we take this away, that's basically the shape, right? What's going on?
Yeah. Looks like it for sure.
Elric says, but real life females are hard to find that look like waifus. Yeah. So if we want her, she's going to be looking up. So we'll do this like this.
Well, I wasn't having her really looking up. What was mine? Let's see.
I'm sorry, what?
I have her more looking down. I think,
Okay.
looking forward and down towards
Okay,
her.
so what I was trying to work with is the shape that you have the face will not work at all with her looking down. It would have to be completely different shape. I'm trying to keep the same shape that you already have.
Well,
Because if she was looking down, it would be, the head would be like this. And then if her direction is looking down and to the right over here, you'd have to come down this. So and then the hair shape would be all the way, because her part is right in the middle, so it would be all the way coming to the right like this. You see what I mean? Like it would all be
The nose
different.
looks like it's sitting lower. The mouth looks like it's sitting lower because of the angle of everything.
Yeah, the whole bottom part of her face would be a lot smaller, and the top of her head would be a lot bigger.
And
So-
if the ears were visible, they would look like they're riding higher on the head just because of the tilt.
So if we could keep the same shape of the head so that the drawing isn't changed too much, she would have to be looking kind of at the viewer. Which means that if we were to draw through the face, like right here, would be the only part of the neck we see. This little edge here.
well,
And that doesn't mean, because if we want to make her look slender or athletic or muscular, we can do all that with the other parts of the cradle for the head and the neck area. It just has to be done in shading. It can't be done with hard lines. I would suggest making the head a little bit bigger because her body is already kind of big, how it's been drawn.
Yeah.
So bigger, it gives her a little bit more slighter body to work with. So then we just draw it out. Let's see here. See, I like to do this, and then I like to make that really light and do another one on top. Let's see. Whoops. And I like to draw her head before I put the hair on it, because hair is hard, and the way it falls around the head is also hard. So I like to draw the bald headed first. I don't know. How do you do it, Metal?
Oh yeah, Elric, I'm still here. I wasn't for a second. I snuck off.
All right, can you hear me or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we got that sketched out, let's get rid of this bottom and the middle, and we can see that's kind of how the body would be in this angle. Now, I think I trying to work with the base drawing here, but the torso is a little bit too long. I might have to shorten that up a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that here.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move it maybe about like this. That would be good because she's hunched over so much. So now, after we have that, then we can start putting the things like where they're supposed to go. Like if the breasts were hanging, you kind of make a point here at the middle of the clavicle, go down in both directions like that. And that would be like the center point. And have it, but I think her breasts are a little bit compressed by the suit, right? So they wouldn't be like free hanging.
Yeah,
Be kind of like this. But because
especially with
she's
her
hunched,
back arch like that.
yeah, with her back hunched over like that, it would be taking up a big portion of the visible torso. So it'd be darker. So kind of like that. And then we could have her arms a little thinner or smaller even. Because the shoulders are so far apart that she looks like she's a comparative lifter.
Yeah, and if you shrink the torso, you need to shrink those a little bit too, to come actually to the resting point of like the belly button for the elbow.
Move that there. Okay. And I think that works right there. Put that on the face.
I'm not exactly sure. I haven't decided, Ulrich. I just draw usually what I think is right.
Kind of like that there.
Yeah, yeah. Which makes the legs work better because before it seemed like they were a little short.
Right. My phone is lagging way behind.
I can't afford to hire Dillard for this project, Timothy. I can barely afford the artist I have now for the Canadian Shield.
There we go.
Ulrich says, make them C cups.
Now we can make them whatever size you want to make them. I don't know. Let's
No.
see what we can play around with here. There we go.
Oh, there's
Some E's right there.
Yeah. Say those definitely aren't C's.
These are actually more along the lines of C's the way I had them to begin with.
Yeah.
Well, Ulrich, I forget what John exactly said his prices were a few weeks ago. I think it adds up to like about 150 a page for pencils and inks. So if you got a couple $1,000 to give me to hire them, because I can't be sure the campaign's gonna make that much extra to hire him.
Damn it, Timothy says triple Z Cubs.
You want to be the size like of her entire body?
That's not even attractive.
Ulrich says E cups are much better.
No, I think those are fine on her.
Oh, yeah.
They match the personality that's going on with this character.
And where is the light source coming from in this picture?
I hadn't gotten to that. Probably it's
Is it
day.
daytime or nighttime?
Probably
midday?
midday, yeah, so above.
Directly above then, yeah.
Let's see here. Go.
Ulrich says the suit is just barely holding those babies back. We've already had the conversations a few times, Timothy. He said he's not doing it for free.
You're late to the party.
I've asked him a few times. I said, "What would it take to get you on this project?" And he said, "Money." And then he said what his rates were.
Well, that should almost always be the appropriate answer.
Yeah. Doing this, I don't care. Have him do it. It's no crack if you have to. That would sort of go against the principles of just doing the book. What it's about. Although it's not, trying to say no. This book itself doesn't say about saying no to drugs, but
Hard anti-crack book. You heard it here first.
So this would be all dark. Okay, pretty much the rest of this would be lit. This torso would be kind of like mid-tone.
Yeah.
Okay. So like that.
Timmy says, I won't get Snowdrift if Dillard is not drawing it. He's made up his mind. Oh, well. Like I said, unless you've got the couple extra thousand that it would cost
Now, when it comes to the costume design, I can't do anything about that. So.
Yeah. The costume is what it is.
But you see how she looks appropriate, Rick?
Yeah.
And that's just putting the shadows under her chin, working with shadows, not doing any hard lines. It's all just shadows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Mallet. I wonder why Mallet's leaving. That's very upsetting. And I wonder why he didn't make a bigger deal out of it.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he made like a semi big deal out of it. That's about it.
That upsets me. I'm upset now.
that might be, although not much was said or did, but just the high noon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need you to be more of a drama queen.
See, this is just, and this is what just comes out because a lot of the stuff has to do with being creative, but a lot of it, the majority of, especially of anatomy, is just putting the actual anatomy that's on a body on the body, and then it ends up looking like, okay, I can actually see this person, like in my mind's eye, how it would actually fit on the page in a comic, you know?
Yeah, it comes down to actually putting down your like wireframe and then adding the musculature on top of it before you put any detail into a person.
Night Mallet, Timothy says, kind of makes me think of Jim Lee's Fantastic Four. Yeah, with him saying
It does
that,
come out
or
with,
Invisible
Sue
Girl.
Storm.
Unless she has straight. Does she have straight hair? It looks like it might have a bit of wave to it in this drawing.
Yeah.
Though if she's going fast enough, it's hard to tell because the wind would be pulling it back.
No, if you got like straight stringy hair, you can kind of tell that no matter what the wind's doing to it.
Well, you also got to remember it's a wig, so it could probably be made up whichever way that she wanted it.
If it's a wig, it's probably far more likely to be like straight hair. It's easier to get a hold of wigs like that. Does she have a bald cap underneath so the wig sits on right?
I don't know. I never thought
Or
about
like
it.
one of those, not necessarily bald cap, but like one of those flesh colored nets that hold the hair.
Or maybe she has cornrows,
Ooh.
Yeah.
and it's not actually a wig; it's a weave.
Well, because the hair is blue, that's why it's, a wig. That way she doesn't have to dye it all the time.
All right,
She has she has normally probably like short brown hair. I think her hair is supposed to be brown normally. Short brown hair.
what is happening with this? Let me see your drawing, Rick. Your Are you showing yours?
No, I'm showing you.
I want to see how that ice wave she's on looks like.
I kept telling him to bring it down into the horizon line, but he just kept going up with it.
Well, I already had drawn this part, so I tried to, like this would go over like this, curving around. I tried to bring it down the best I could without it looking stupid, or more stupid than it does.
How would this work? This is the first time I've ever drawn an ice bridge.
Yeah. Well, another way you could have done to make it look like it's going to the horizon is you could have brought the buildings up more.
Yeah, I can take these out. I was probably going to take these out anyways in this one.
So maybe like this. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how ice powers work.
I think a good
I
rule
only
of
know
thumb too.
Frozone.
Yeah, is that if you're centering a piece around the character, you can draw the whole character first, but before you start adding any other elements, you should pick where a horizon line is, because that's going to like determine all the perspective.
Well, the horizon line, of course, should be right.
Yeah.
Elric is schooling me on ice power styles. I don't know anything about ice power styles.
I like the way Frozone's work because he's kind of doing like the Iceman, but instead of just like making random sky bridges, it's more like a roller coaster. It has to be grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like really slick and almost realistic.
Timothy says, "Hey, Dylan, I told Rick an idea of how the buckler and Canadian shield he thinks should work."
And what did Rick think of it?
Sounded sort of alright. Don't remember it all completely or at all.
He said, because you said you were worried about the shield's decision-making capabilities and him having to be kind of stupid for it to work.
Yes.
He said that maybe that the shield should have a concussion before that happens so that his decision-making is already impaired.
Oh.
It's actually not that bad of an idea at all. Because it'd be easy to set up narratively.
Yeah, we can have buildings going like this. It's fine.
Especially since his powers are tied to the suit, he could have gotten the concussion doing something outside of the suit.
That's true.
Malric says, like if you create giant objects or use it as mirrors or use it as areas of effect, etc., etc.
See, that's what I'm saying to Rick too, right? If you have your horizon higher, you can bring the buildings up to actually make the image look like it's making sense, like you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Now she's like super high up in the skyscrapers. Except this area here, the building's going to be in front of her ice bridge. So
Yeah, so she's coming around it.
yeah. But the icicles hanging would be a lot smaller. This I got to change. So how come you guys aren't watching the debate? Not interested?
I actually was watching it prior to hopping in here.
What did you think of it?
Uh,
I thought it was a much better debate than the last one.
yeah, in general. The questions are more leading.
They are. However, I do think the questions are leading on both sides.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. See, this would be a comment I could really want, but Rick is cheap. No, I'm not cheap. I can't. I don't have money.
There's a difference between being cheap and broke.
If I had a couple extra $1,000, or if I knew I was gonna get, $10,000 worth of sales for Snowdrift, and John would agree to get paid, from the campaign, I'd do that. But
This is not a scenario that exists in real life.
yeah,
I need my money up front.
but see, John knows that it's not a for sure thing that I'm going to be getting, like $10,000 or more in sales, so he won't agree to that.
Yeah, and the only way I could in good conscience do that is if I sexied her up a bit to ensure the $10,000 payday. Like we're just gonna have to get rid of this top altogether.
Put her in a bikini.
I said altogether, metal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then it wouldn't equate that much of a Christian comic.
Well, it could be. It just wouldn't be a very good Christian comic.
Yeah.
That'd be good in other ways.
But I'm hoping to have the money to get maybe Ephraim to do it. So, you like his style as that is. So,
I do like Ephraim's style.
Yeah, it would still be a solid book.
Although technically, I don't think I've seen him draw any girls yet. So.
Do you think that he's incapable?
No, I'm just putting the comment out there, He could be really good at everything else, and horrible at drawing
He could
women.
be even better at drawing women.
Yeah, there's that.
Him in his, out of his comfort zone.
You're not even giving him a chance, Ray. Come on.
No, I'm just trying to just joke around,
I'm trying to remember who I modeled this Snowdrift after. I think I modeled her after Vivian Leigh. Pose. Fuck me.
Uh,
Hello? I'm in the shed. In a little bit. Okay, bye. Every time.
Every single time.
Rick, don't ever get married.
I can't wait to get married. Then
Shouldn't
again,
be in a rush.
I may be in a rush, but thing is, I don't got a girlfriend, so, and no potential at the moment, so it ain't like I'm getting married anytime soon. It seems. Ulrich says the top of the suit. I agree. Let those babies breathe. Although that was said a couple minutes ago.
You know how there's like a porn parody of everything? That's just what Dillard's going to draw.
Yeah. I expect that to happen eventually for my comics.
You mean you can't wait for it to happen? You pervert.
Timothy, woe is me. That is you, Rick. Sometimes, yes, it is.
See, Rick, what you do is you wait till you have a good nest egg from a comic empire, and then when your wife wants to bother you, you can just throw money at her to go shopping and distract her for a while.
Or just tie that money up really hard in those little bundles like the mobsters have.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah.
throw it at her real hard and leave a bruise.
Just knock her out for a bit.
And then go pick up the money and put it back in your pocket.
Timothy says instead of snowdrift, snow blow.
Oh, that's just gross and stupid.
That could more refer to cocaine, Because isn't cocaine called blow? Isn't that a slang term for it?
Not the cocaine I hang out with.
And why would you just go with snowball anyway? Snowball's already like a sex term.
Why don't you just call it an 8-ball?
Well, that's if we're going back into the drug side. You want an 8-ball of Coke, Rick?
No.
Or you want to share an 8-ball, it seems.
No.
I'm sorry, I mean snowball.
No.
That is what that is, yeah. Every time I hear that term, I think of Clerks.
Eric says, Cross, if you had a nest egg from comics and your woman asked you for money, how much then make a deal with her in bed? She's my woman. I don't think that's
She's a wife, not a prostitute.
Yeah.
That's how we know Elric's watched way too many anime. This is how he thinks these interactions go.
What was this? I'm sorry, what was this premise?
He's like making a deal to like what's it called? Get his wife into bed. It's like, but they're already married. He doesn't have to pay his wife to get into bed.
Yeah, you just like walk by her in the kitchen and like smack her in the butt and gesture towards the room. That's all you gotta do.
Okay, I don't know what IRTS
The more
is.
important thing
Mom.
is how do you get her to leave you alone? That's where the money comes in. She's gonna want to take you antiquing. When what you really want to do is watch the new, Blue Alchemist or whatever. That's where you hand her the money and say, you know what? I think you should really spend some like quality time with your nieces.
Teach them the wonders of antiquing.
Timothy says he is so corrupt for money that he is completely different type of Rick Piper than we know, and now Rick laughs. And it is midnight.
Yeah.
You want to promote, John? Anything?
Yeah, I want to promote my new book. I just made a book called Snowball. I'm working on the cover right now.
The newest ripoff from Cross Comics.
No, I ripped this off from Metal.
Clearly.
Or ripped off from both of us.
It's like a game of telephone.
Metal, you want to promote?
Yeah, just go over to xtimeischaos.com where I've got tons of stories for you to interact with, engage in for hours.
Should make
And
those
keep
stories
in
lose
tune.
some weight.
Yeah. And keep in tune for the role-playing game we're going to be playing on, I believe, this channel. Not this weekend, but the weekend after that.
So I'd like to thank John and Metal for coming on and talking and participating with me. And thank everybody in the audience for coming by. I hope you've all had a good time. It's been great having you all here. We will see you tomorrow for noon. So bye for now. God bless. Love you all.